In the heart of the African wilderness, where the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and crimson, there lay a small village known as Nkin. The village was nestled amidst rolling hills and lush forests, its beauty a testament of the rich tapestry of life that thrived within its borders. Here, the rhythm of nature dictated the ebb and flow of daily life, shaping the destinies of those who call this place home. In a humble mud brick hut on the outskirts of the village, a young couple named Wambudike and Adana awaited the arrival of their firstborn child. For years, they have prayed to the spirits of the land for a child to bless their union, and now their prayers has been answered. Adana's belly swelled with promise of new life, her eyes shining with anticipation as she prepared for the imminent arrival of their son. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars began to twinkle overhead, Adana's labor pains intensified, signaling the start of a new chapter in their lives. With each contraction, she clung to Wabudike's hand, drawing strength from his unwavering love and support. And as the first light of dawn broke across the sky, their prayers were finally answered as Adana gave birth to a healthy baby boy. They named him Okechukwu, which meant God's gift in their native tongue, a fitting tribute to the joy and gratitude that filled their hearts. From the moment he entered the world, Okechukwu's presence seemed to cast a radiant glow upon the village, his laughter like music to their ears, and his curious eyes a reflection of the wonder that lay beyond. As Okechukwu grew, so did his thirst for knowledge and adventure. From a young age, he displayed a remarkable intelligence and curiosity, always eager to explore the world around him and learn from the elders who dwelled in the village. He would spend hours wandering through the forest that surrounded Nkin, marveling at the beauty of nature and listening to the whispers of the wind. But it was not just the natural world that captured Okechukwu's imagination. He was also drawn to the stories and traditions of his people, passed down through generations like precious heirlooms. He would sit at the feet of the village elders, hanging on their every word as they regaled him with tales of heroes and legends of brave warriors and cunning tricksters. Under their guidance, Okechukwu learned the ancient customs and rituals that bound the community together, instilling in him a deep reverence for the land and its spirits. He discovered the sacred art of Palmwine tapping, a tradition as old as time itself, and spent countless hours practicing the delicate skill under the watchful eye of the village tapper. But amidst the lessons and the laughter, Okechukwu never lost sight of his true purpose, to use his gifts for the betterment of his people and the protection of his home. As he grew older, that sense of duty would shape the course of his life in ways he could never have imagined. As Okechukwu entered adolescence, he found himself drawn more and more to the wisdom of the village elders, seeking out their counsel on matters both great and small. These venerable men and women, with their withered faces and keen eyes, were the keepers of ancient knowledge, the guardians of tradition and law. Under their tutelage, Okechukwu delved deep into the mysteries of the universe, learning the secrets of the stars and the circles of the moon. He studied the ways of the animals, observing their habits and behaviors with a keen eye for detail. And he listened intently as the elders spoke of the spirits that dwelt in the forest and rivers, their voices a whisper on the wind. But perhaps the greatest lesson Okechukwu learned from the elders was the importance of humility and respect, of honoring the wisdom of those who had come before him and acknowledging the interconnectedness of all living things. For in their eyes, he saw the reflection of his own soul, a reminder that he was but one thread in the vast tapestry of existence. And so, Armed with the knowledge and guidance of the elders, Okechukwu set out to navigate the complexities of life in the village, his heart filled with a sense of purpose and determination. Little did he know that his journey was only just beginning, and that the trials and tribulations that lay ahead would test him in ways he could have never imagined. It was on one fateful day, as Okechukwu wandered through the forest in search of adventure, that he stumbled upon a wise old man named Ezeudu. Ezeudu was the village palmwine tapper, renowned throughout the land for his skill and expertise in the ancient art of tapping the sap from the tall palm tree that dotted the landscape. Impressed by the young boy's keen intellect and gentle demeanor, Ezeudu took Okechukwu under his wing, offering to teach him the ways of palmwine tapping. And so, under the watchful eyes of his new mentor, Okechukwu embarked on a journey of discovery, learning the delicate art of climbing the towering palm trees and extracting the sweet nectar that flowed within. But more than just a trade, palmwine tapping became a way of life for Okechukwu, a sacred bond that connected him to the land and its people. With each gourd filled with the golden liquid, he felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that he was carrying on a tradition as old as time itself. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, Okechukwu's skills as a palmwine tapper grew until he was able to climb the tallest trees with ease and precision. But more than that, he discovered a deep sense of fulfillment in his work, a connection to something greater than himself that filled his heart with joy. As Okechukwu reached adulthood, he found himself drawn to three beautiful maidens from neighboring villages, Ngozi, Ifeoma, and Chinyere. Each woman possessed their own unique charms and talents, and Okechukwu found himself unable to choose between them. And so, in a bold and unconventional move, he took all three as his wives, vowing to love and cherish each one equally. At first, the villagers were skeptical of Okechukwu's decision, for it was not common for a man to have more than one wife. But as they witnessed the love and harmony that existed between the four of them, their doubts soon melted, replaced by admiration and respect for the bonds they shared. Ngozi, the eldest of Okechukwu's wife, was a woman of quiet strength and unwavering devotion. Her gentle demeanor belied a fierce determination to protect her family at all costs, and she took great pride in her role as the matriarch of the household. With a warm smile and a kind word, she welcomed all who crossed the threshold of their home, treating them as if they were kin. Ifeoma, the second of Okechukwu's wives, was a woman of boundless energy and infectious laughter. Her zest for life was contagious, and she approached every task with enthusiasm and joy. Whether tending to the crops in the fields or singing songs by the fire, Ifeoma brought a sense of lightness and levity to the household, lifting the spirits of all who knew her. Chinyere, the youngest of Okechukwu's wives, was a woman of quite grace and deep wisdom. Her words were few, but when she spoke, her voice carried the weight of centuries of knowledge passed down through generations. With a keen eye and a steady hand, Chinyere tended to the herbs and potions that lined the shelves of their home, using her skill to heal the sick and soothe the troubled souls of the village. Together, these three women formed a formidable team, their strength complementing one another in perfect harmony. They worked side by side with Okechukwu to build a life filled with love and abundance, their bond as strong as the roots of the ancient baobab tree that towered above them. With his three wives and their children by his side, Okechukwu's compound became a sanctuary of peace and tranquility in the midst of a chaotic world. Each day dawned with the promise of new adventures and challenges, but within the walls of their home, Time seemed to stand still, the outside world fading into insignificance. The children played in the courtyard, their laughter echoing off the walls as they chased one another through the tall grass. Ngozi, Ifoma, and Chinyere worked together in the kitchen, their voices raised in song as they prepared meals for their growing family. And Okechukwu moved between them, a pillar of strength and wisdom, his presence a comforting presence in times of trouble. But amidst the laughter and the love, Okechukwu never forgot his duties as a husband and a father. He took the time to listen to each of his wife, offering words of encouragement and support when needed, and he spent countless hours with his children, teaching them the ways of the land and instilling in them the values of honesty, integrity, and compassion. In the evenings, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the stars began to twinkle overhead, the family would gather around the fire, sharing stories and songs passed down through generations. And as the flames danced and crackled in the darkness, they felt a sense of peace and contentment wash over them, knowing that they were bound together by love and kinship. One day, a great famine swept across the land, leaving the people of Nkem starving and desperate. Crops withered in the field, and animals perished from lack of food and water. As the villagers turned to Okechukwu for help, he knew that he must use his wisdom to find a solution. With a heavy heart, Okechukwu convened a meeting of the village elders, seeking their counsel on how best to address the crisis. Together, they discussed strategy for conserving food and water and explore alternative sources for sustenance that could help tide them up until the famine passed. But as days turned into weeks and the famine showed no signs of abating, Okechukwu knew that more drastic measures would be required. So, with Ezeudu's guidance, he led a group of brave volunteers deep into the forest in search of a hidden oasis rumored to contain life-giving water and food. Word of Okechukwu's wisdom and leadership spread far and wide, reaching the ears of the king himself. In need of counsel during a time of war, the king sent his messengers to summon the Palmwine to the royal court. Okechukwu's reputation as a wise and compassionate leader had preceded him, and the king hoped that he would be able to offer guidance in their time of need. As Okechukwu stood before the king, he sensed the weight of the kingdom's fate resting upon his shoulders. The king explained that their enemies were closing in, their armies outnumbered, and their defense crumbling. He begged Okechukwu for guidance, desperate for any glimmer of hope in the face of impending defeat. Closing his eyes, Okechukwu allowed his mind to wander, seeking guidance from the spirits of the land. And then, as if by magic, a vision appeared before him, a hidden passageway through the mountains, known only to the bravest of warriors. With a sense of clarity and purpose, Okechukwu shared his vision with the king, urging him to send a small band of elite soldiers to explore the passageway and launch a surprise attack on the enemy's flank. With Okechukwu's vision as their guide, the king's army embarked on a perilous journey through the mountains, facing treacherous terrain and fierce enemies at every turn. But with the Palmwine wisdom to light their way, they emerged victorious, their enemies defeated, and their kingdom saved. News of Okechukwu's heroism spread like wildfire, capturing the hearts and imaginations of people from distant lands. They traveled from far and wide, seeking the wisdom of the Palmwine who had saved a kingdom with nothing but his insight and courage. But amidst the adoration and admiration, Okechukwu remained humble and rooted in the simple joys of family and community. His reputation as a wise and compassionate leader only serving to strengthen the bonds that held them together. But amidst the adulation and admiration, there lurked a shadowy figure, Obinna, a jealous rival who sought to claim Okechukwu's glory for himself. He whispered lies and half-truths, sowing seeds of doubt and mistrust wherever he went. Consumed by envy and resentment, he plotted and schemed, determined to undermine Okechukwu's reputation and seize power for himself. Fueled by jealousy and spite, Obinna hatched a wicked plan to discredit Okechukwu and steal his place in the hearts of the people. With cunning and guile, he spread rumors of treachery and deceit, turning friends against friends and sowing discord within the village. And as suspicion and paranoia took hold, the fabric of community began to unravel, torn apart by the venomous words of a single man. Obinna's accusation of treachery and deceit against Okechukwu spread like wildfire through the village. Fueled by his cunning words and manipulative schemes, he whispered insidious lies into the ears of the villagers, painting Okechukwu as a traitor who had betrayed their trust and endangered their safety. Obinna claimed that Okechukwu has conspired with their enemies, selling secrets and information in exchange for wealth and power. He spun tales of secret meetings in the dead of the night, of shadowy figures lurking in the darkness, and of whispered promises made behind closed doors. And with each passing day, his words gained traction, eroding the trust and confidence that the villagers once placed in Okechukwu. Despite Okechukwu's protest of innocence and his steadfast devotion in the village, doubt began to creep into the hearts of even his closest friends and allies. They questioned his motives and his loyalty, wondering if there was any truth to Obinna's accusations, or if they were nothing more than malicious ramblings of a jealous rival. As the village descended into chaos, Okechukwu stood accused of crimes he did not commit, his reputation tarnished and his spirit broken. But even in the face of adversity, he refused to abandon his principles or betray his friends. Just when all seemed lost, a brave young warrior named Chukwuemeka stepped forward. Armed with evidence of Obinna's deceit, with courage and conviction, he exposed the traitor's lies, clearing Okechukwu's name and restoring peace to the village. As the dust settled and the villagers rejoiced, a strange and wondrous thing occurred. The spirits of the land, long silent and unseen, began to stir once more. They danced and frolicked in the moonlight, their laughter echoing through the forest like the tinkling of wheat chimes. In the midst of the celebration, Okechukwu received another vision from the spirit, a warning of dark times ahead. He knew that he must again use his wisdom to protect his people and preserve the fragile balance between mortal world and realm of the spirits. Determined to heed the spirit's warning, Okechukwu embarked on a perilous journey to seek out the ancient guardians of the land. Along the way, he encountered strange and wondrous creatures, from mischievous forest spirits to wise old sages who dwelled in hidden caves. At the heart of the wilderness, Okechukwu finally reached the sacred grove where the guardians awaited him. But to prove himself worthy of their trust, he would have to face a series of trials, each more doubting than the last. In the first trial, Okechukwu was plunged into darkness, his senses overwhelmed by the air silence of the forest, but with courage and determination he pressed onward, trusting in his instincts and guidance of the spirit. Next came the test of wisdom, where Okechukwu was presented with a series of riddles and puzzles designed to challenge his intellect and insight. With each riddle, Okechukwu delved deep into his mind, drawing upon lessons learned from the elders and the knowledge gained through the years of experience. And as he solved each puzzle, the guardians nodded in approval, impressed by the Palmwine tapper's wisdom. The final trial was the test of strength, where Okechukwu faced off against a fierce warrior who guarded the entrance of the sacred grove. With muzzles honed from years of palmwine tapping and a spirit forged in the fires of adversity, Okechukwu stood his ground, facing his opponents with unwavering resolve. As the last echo of battle faded into the wind, the guardians approached Okechukwu, their eyes shining with approval. They bestowed upon him their blessings, a gift of ancient knowledge and sacred wisdom that would guide him in the days to come. With the guardians' blessings safely tucked away in his heart, Okechukwu began the long journey back to his village. Along the way, he encountered old friends and new allies, each eager to hear of his adventures and marvel at the wonders he had witnessed. But as Okechukwu drew closer to Nkem, he sensed a change in the air, a heaviness that hung like a shroud over the village. Dark clouds gathered on the horizon, casting ominous shadows across the land. The whispers of unrest echoed through the streets. Upon his return, Okechukwu discovered that the source of the village troubles lay not in the outside world, but within their own midst. A faction of discontented villagers led by Obenan and fueled by greed and jealousy had risen up against the rightful leadership, seeking to seize power for themselves. Faced with the threat of civil war and the prospect of bloodshed, Okechukwu knew that he must act swiftly and decisively to restore peace in the village. But the path ahead was fraught with danger, and the stakes could not be higher. As tensions reached a boiling point, Okechukwu called upon the wisdom of the elders and the strength of his family to forge a path forward. Together, they rallied the loyal villagers to their cause, standing firm against the tide of rebellion that threatened to engulf them all. In the darkness of the night, the village erupted into chaos as the rebels launched their attack, their torches blazing and their voices raised in defiance. But Okechukwu and his allies were ready, their resolve unshakable, and they fought tooth and nail to defend their home and protect their loved ones. The rebels found themselves outnumbered and unmatched by Okechukwu's cunning tactics and unwavering determination. Slowly but surely, they began to retreat, their ranks decimated and their spirits broken. But victory came at a cost, as the village lay in ruins and the ground soaked with the blood of the fallen. As Okechukwu surveyed the devastation, his heart heavy with sorrow, he knew that the path to peace would be long and arduous, but he vowed to rebuild Nkem stronger than before. With the rebels defeated and the village secured once more, Okechukwu turned his attention to healing the wounds that ran deep within the community. He reached out to those who had been swayed by Obina's lies, offering forgiveness and understanding in the hope of forging a path forward together. Slowly but surely, the seeds of reconciliation began to take root, as former enemies set aside their differences and came together in the spirit of unity and forgiveness. And as the village began to heal, Okechukwu's heart swelled with pride, knowing that the bonds of community were stronger than any force of darkness. To celebrate the newfound peace and harmony, Okechukwu organized a great feast, inviting all villagers to come together and break bread as one family. Under the twinkling stars and the watchful gaze of the moon, they danced and sang late into the night, their voices to raise in joyous celebration. As the feast reached its crescendo, a strange and wondrous thing occurred. The spirits of the land appeared once more, their ethereal forms shimmering in the moonlight. With laughter and songs, they joined in the celebration, their presence a reminder of the bond that connected all living things. In the midst of the revelry, Okechukwu received a vision from the spirit, a prophecy of hope and renewal for the village of Nkem. They spoke of a time of great prosperity and abundance, where peace would reign supreme and the land would flourish once more. Inspired by the spirit's prophecy, Okechukwu embarked on a new quest to bring prosperity to his village. Seeking out Hindu treasures and ancient relics that lay scattered across the land. With the help of his wives and children, he journeyed far and wide, uncovering secrets long forgotten and unlocking the power of the earth itself. But the path to prosperity was fraught with peril, as Okechukwu and his family faced a series of trials and challenges that tested their courage and resolve. From raging rivers to scorching deserts, they braved the elements with unwavering determination, knowing that their quest was righteous and true. At the heart of their journey, Okechukwu and his family encountered the guardians of the earth, ancient spirits who watch over the land with benevolent eyes. With humility and respect, they sought the guardians' blessings, offering gifts of gratitude and reverence in return. Moved by their sincerity and purity of heart, the guardians bestowed upon Okechukwu and his family a gift of abundance, a magical artifact imbued with the power to nourish the land and bring forth bountiful harvests for generations to come. With the gift of abundance safely in their possession, Okechukwu and his family made their way back to Nkem, their hearts beaming with hope and anticipation. Along the way, they encountered old friends and new allies, each eager to hear their adventures and share in the joy of their success. Upon their return, Okechukwu wasted no time in putting the gift of abundance to use, planting the magical seeds in the fertile soil of the village fields. With each seed carefully sown, the earth seemed to awaken from its slumber, bursting forth with new life and vitality. As this turned into weeks and weeks into seasons, the village of Nkem witnessed a miraculous transformation. The once barren field now teemed with vibrant green ray. As crops flourished under the nurturing touch of magical seeds, the air was filled with the sweet scents of blooming flowers, and the sound of birdsong filled the skies. To celebrate the bountiful harvest, Okechukwu organized a grand feast for the entire village, inviting neighbors from far and wide to partake in the abundance that had bestowed upon them. Tables groaned under the weight of fruit and vegetables, and the air was alive with laughter and music. But amidst the revelry, Okechukwu reminded the villagers of the importance of giving back to those less fortunate, sharing their blessings with those in need. With open hearts and generous spirit, they distributed food and supplies to the elderly and the orphaned, spreading joy and kindness throughout the land. As night fell and the stars twinkled overhead, the villagers gathered around a roaring bonfire to honor the spirits of the land. They danced and sang late into the night, their voices raised in gratitude and reverence for the blessings they had received. As the years passed, Okechukwu's fame spread far and wide, his name whispered in awe and admiration by people from distant lands. But amidst the adulation, he remained humble and rooted in the simple joys of family and community, his wisdom and compassion touching the lives of all who knew him. And so, the story of Okechukwu, the village Palmwine tapper, came full circle, weaving his way into the fabric of African folklore for generations to come. His legacy lived on in the laughter of children and the whisper of the wind, a testament to the enduring power of courage, wisdom, and the bonds of community.